Field Customs and Customs Administration ready for the conference?
The Customs Administration is ready.
Taipei Customs is ready.
Kaohsiung Customs is ready.
So how about Keelung Customs? Are you ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Keelung Customs is ready.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the simulation conference is about to start. May I ask everyone to remain seated? Please also kindly switch your mobile phone to the silent mode. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Dear supervisors and colleagues of Customs Administration and all field customs, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the simulation conference hosted by Taichung Customs. I'm Victoria Zhang.
And this is Zach Chen.
It's a great privilege and honor for us to chair this simulation conference. We appreciate you taking time off your busy schedules to join us today. Firstly, let's welcome our Chief Secretary of Taichung Customs, Mr. Rongxiang Shen, to give us the opening remark.
Mr. Yang, Chief of Department of Planning, and all the colleagues of Customs Administration and all field customs offices. Good morning. On behalf of Taichung Customs, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to attend this simulation conference. To facilitate international trading, we keep on participating in international affairs and communicating with competent foreign authorities to maintain good connections with international customs. The purpose of International Customs Talents Program is to encourage customs officers to foster their competency in English communication skills. All of you who participated in the conference today are promising candidates to be our representatives for international conferences or negotiations in the future. I hope all of you can benefit from the presentations today. Trade facilitation and border security are very important topics for customs these years. Recently, drug trafficking has become a serious problem worldwide. Anti-smuggling of drugs is a battle of wits between customs and drug traffickers. Fortunately, Customs has established Detector Dog Breeding and Training Center in 2008. The deployment of Detector Dog teams in airports allows Customs to combat against the drug traffickers more efficiently. Our first topic today discusses about detector dogs. I'm sure Ms. Sulin Huang will show us some interesting pictures about the life of detector dogs and their handlers, and provide us more insight about the detector dog team. As an export-oriented economy, Taiwan is highly dependent on trade to sustain its economic development. In order to encourage and stimulate an export, we have provided an incentive measure by offset or refund of duties and taxes of the raw materials for export products. To simply and facilitate the implementation of this measure, we offer qualified export factories or firms the privilege of recording the business tax payable on account on their imported raw materials by self-executed affidavits. Our second topic today discusses this system. Ms. Kara Hong will review and analyze the current implementation of this system. Hopefully, the analysis can be useful in implementing this measure in the future. I'd like to encourage everyone to raise your questions during Q&A session. Our speakers will try their best to answer you. Finally, I look forward to your full participation in this conference and wish this conference every success.
Thank you for your encouragement, Chief Secretary. Next, is there any other supervisor from Customs Administration or Field Customs who wants to make some remarks for us?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Taichung Customs for organizing this meeting. This is a very good opportunity for us to exchange experience, especially in English. That means that we don't have many opportunities to practice our business English. I think this meeting is a very good exercise. And my thanks also go to all the colleagues who attend this from different departments in the customs administration. I think we can use these vehicles to set up a pool of talent for international business. Actually, it's my first time to join this kind of meeting. So I come here for learning, actually, so I look forward to your performance, and I hope this meeting will be a successful one. And this concludes my remarks, so I return the floor to the chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Yang. And now, if there's no further comment, we shall proceed to the presentation session.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zach. I assume that each custom field has received the agenda, and as you know, this conference will consist of 2 presentations, and at the end of each presentation, there will be time for you to raise questions to our speakers. Victoria, as the custom officer, do you have any ideas about what our detector dog is? What breed, do you know?
Of course, they are Labradors.
Wow, you really have the basic knowledge. Indeed, pretty good. Most passengers do always mistaken our detector dog for beagles, because beagles, there are so many around the airports, but our detector dog have to visit different sites, and they do not always appear at the airports. No wonder most passengers mistaken for them. And as the accounting officer, I bet you would not believe the following information. Do you know the toothpaste for the dog is 2,000 NT dollars per tube? And also, those dogs are entitled to have physical check annually because they are so important assets to customs.
Really? I
Yes.
thought you were kidding.
I saw the record.
Now, I have an impression that these dogs are of higher rankings and enjoy benefits than most of us.
Well, you can say that again. I might feel better off if I were the dog. Okay, now let's take a look at their life from their perspective. I will pass the floor to my dear colleagues Emily and Shulin Huang.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for attending this visual conference. It's a pleasure for me to make this presentation to you today. I'm Emily from Taichung Customs. I'm going to talk about a day in customs. Actually, my presentation will deal with the most special staff and the most interesting and challenging job in customs. Well, there are a lot of customs officers working in different fields. Today, I would like to introduce you some specialties you might hear of, but have no chance to know them better. I hope after my presentation, you can have a better understanding of them and maybe be a part of them. Okay, right now, let me introduce you the most special staff in customs. That's Martin. He is going to tell us about his brief autobiography, how he became a detector dog, and one day of him. Let's welcome him.
Hi, I'm Ollie. Handsome, right? I'm from Australia. I'm 5 years old. I work for Taichung Customs as drug detector now. I've been working here for 15 months. I worked in Taipei Customs before, well, about 1 year. In other words, I'm an experienced worker. I'm going to tell you about my job. You may be envious about it, but sorry, you just can't take my position. You know why? Because none of you are qualified. I will explain in the next 10 minutes. There are some features of detector dogs. That's good nose, smart, energetic, stable, and friendly. First thing, the good nose. These are cross-sections of nasal cavities of dog, mouse, and human. We dogs have an acute sense of smell that is 10,000 times higher than human. You can see the difference and how sensitive my nose is. I can detect the fine smell and discriminate the difference. Second, I'm smart and always full of energy. This is the agility yard of our center. It's wide and there are a lot of facility for me to play. Sometimes my handler Jamie would take me to play there. Wait a minute. I will show you a demonstration of Ari playing with Jamie in the agility yard. Jamie take me to play there for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, 1 minute. And I have physical training one to 2 times a week, running about 3 kilometers each time. It helps me to be in good health condition so that I can breathe and exhale with more air during the deployment. In other words, running makes my work more efficient. This is Jamie and I playing in the agility yard.
Good boy! Good doggy. Good doggy.
I got to be fit. That's the requirement for my job. It's not about discrimination. It's because I have to be very healthy. I can't be too fat like this one, or too skinny like this one. I'm always in great shape, and my physical condition is always great. I do health check, as Zach mentioned before, in veterinary hospital twice a year, and if there is something wrong, they can find and cure the disease in early stage. Every month, my handler will apply medicine preventing me from the attack of flea and tick, and he will also give me a pill for preventing heartworm disease. Jamie almost takes care of my everything. Third, stable and friendly. There are numerous different breeds of detector dogs. This is Beagles, which is a food lover. They love eating so much. Therefore, they are always trained to be quarantine dogs. Their main targets are fruits, seeds, vegetables, and meats. People always confuse my job with Beagles. We have something in common. We all serve for the country, working in borders, but we have different mission. Mine is to find drug. Theirs is to find animals and plants or their products. These are German Shepherd and Belgian Malinois. They are all great working dogs, but since my working place are post office, airports, seaports, and even ships, the way I look is very important. Look, if I look aggressive, such as German Shepherd or this one, then people get panic. Some people even scream. It's not good for the working dogs and the odor of public places. Well, my friends has good noses, and they are absolutely great working dogs. But I have an advantage. Look at my face. I have a friendly face and a stable mood. Who can reject me from doing my job? These are some personal advantages that I'm capable of being a great drug detector dog. Now, I'm going to let you know about my personal life. I would like to introduce you what I'm doing in a day. I live in Holy Taichung. This is our center. It belongs to the Customs Administration. And this is the kennel. I live in a small room alone, but it's okay. I'm not lonely. My friends Arnold, Chili, Quinta, and Ubu live nearby. Normally, at 8 o'clock, my handler Jamie will come and take me to the day yard. I can run and play with my friends. I can run. Come on, run. I can run and play with my friends for a while. Actually, it's running and barking at each other. Before going out, he will groom me and check my health condition. Today, we're going to Taichung Post Office to check the parcels. It takes about 40 minutes from Holy to Post Office in Yingcai Road. I will stay in a cage waiting for the deployment. I'm always in a cage when I'm not deploying. It's not very comfortable, but it's okay. After about 10 minutes, it's my show time. I'm going to check about 200 parcels. Jamie takes me to sniff, and he pumps the parcels when needed. It makes the air spray out of the parcel, and it helps a lot. After the deployment, we leave the post office and move to another place. Today, we are going to the Passenger Service Center located in Taichung Port. It takes about 15 minutes from Taichung Post Office to Taichung Port. It's a long way. During the driving, I normally sit and rest in this small cage. But sometimes I like to stand up and enjoy the sights of the road. Actually, it's better to take a rest because you never know what's going to happen next. Sometimes there is certain stuff in the driving and it bothers me a little bit. Furthermore, there are always a lot of things to do. Sitting and taking a rest would be better. Finally, we arrived at the passenger service center. I will pee outside and then we get in. I stay in a cage, waiting for the deployment again. And there are approximately 400 passengers today. I have to check the people and the luggage. I'm going to deploy first. Then it's my colleague Ugo's turn. Then it's Arnold's turn. At the end, I'm back again. You may think, why don't we check more people and their stuff once? It would be more efficient than checking so many times. Well, deployment requires a lot of energy. I have to be very concentrated on smelling. If I have to check too many people and their stuff once, I would be very exhausted, and for long term, it's not good for my health. And if I find a target, my response is to sit. If I feel something weird, I will have a CIB, that is change in behavior, such as stop walking, begin to sniff of the people. Then Jamie will take me back there to approach again and see my reaction. That's what they called re-expose. And this is the actual deployment video that we do in, I guess, March, last March. And after the deployment in the passenger service center, we are going to the container yard. This is the container yard. We have to check the imported and exported goods too. It's dangerous here. There are always forklifts working around. The goods are not placed in order. Both Jamie and I have to be very careful for a safer deployment. There should be at least 3 members. One is handler with his dog. This picture, a handler with his dog, and another is shooting the video. And the third one is paying attention to the surroundings and warning the handler, because the handler is very concentrated in running and observing the CIB. Sometimes he or she doesn't have time to watch the surroundings. That's the reason why many handlers and dogs get hurt. You can see how dangerous it is from the video that I'm going to play. Sorry, it takes some seconds. this part before, so the handler Jamie takes him back to this place to smell again.
Up. Up.
Sometimes the boots are placed in very high altitude, so the handler and the dog must climb and smell at this part. You can hear the sound of forklifts working around, and the other member is warning the handler and his dog. Finally, all jobs are done today. We can go back home. Now is my happy time. I eat 350 grams per day. Jamie feeds me, and then he will leave. I will probably sleep around 7 o'clock. By the way, did you notice that it's not a room I left this morning? I shift room every day. The cleaning lady clean and disinfect the room in the morning and leave it to be dry, so that every day I have a hygienic and comfortable place to sleep. That's some briefing about me and my life. I love Jamie and I enjoy working with him. It's really fun to be a customs drug detector dog. Okay, that's all about me. I'm going to pass the microphone to my human partner, Emily, now. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Artie. You are so cool. Thanks for protecting our borders. After your presentation, we have a better understanding about the features and the day of detector dogs. Now, I'm going to introduce another important role in detector dog unit. It's the most interesting and challenging job in customs. That is handler of detector dogs. Shuling has experiences in many fields. She will introduce herself and tell us about the features of handlers and one day of her.
Good morning, I'm Shulin. I have worked for government-supported fund, hospital, and courts before. To tell the truth, it's really fun and cool to be a handler. And I guess being a handler is the most interesting and challenging job in customs. First, I would like to tell you some features of handler. And these are good physical condition, good interpretation of dogs' behavior, creativity, and ability of solving problems. As a handler, good physical condition is the first thing. There is a saying between handlers: either you walk the dogs or the dogs walk you. Handlers must run fast and react quickly. There are some physical requirements of being a handler. I listed some in this table. It takes time to explain the part of before. I'm not going further. If any one of you is interested in this part, you may visit the intranet of the Customs Administration. Dogs are like children. They are very curious about the world, very energetic, and it seems that they never get bored. Handlers must take their dogs to run approximately 3 kilometers once to twice per week. A handler and a dog work as a team. The running keeps us healthy and makes us active partners. Regular exercise is a requirement of this job. Well, it's also a good thing for us. We are kind of being forced to be healthy. Come on, what job in customs concerns your health? Another feature a handler should have is the good interpretation of dogs' behavior. A lot of people have pets, no matter that's dogs, cats, birds, or others. The common thing a pet owner should have is a lot of love, patience, and discipline. Just the right way you treat a kid. To understand a dog's behavior is even more difficult because animals can't speak. The only way to understand them is through their behavior. A good handler should be good at observing the dog's action and interpret them, and then decide what to do. It's not easy. We people talk, and misunderstanding occurs. It's even harder to know what the dogs are thinking, because they can't communicate with us using human language. Most of the customs handlers have dogs as pets. They love dogs and have experience living with dogs. They are more likely to understand the dog's behavior, but the handling skill of detector dog requires more professional knowledge, and during the training, the instructor will teach the principle. But since every dog is different, they may look similar, but they are not the same. Handlers have to learn their likes and dislikes, their tempers, almost everything about his or her dog. Understanding is the first step of being a good handler. Dogs learn what you teach them, and they react what they are taught. Once the dog's behavior is unpleasant, such as barking or jumping onto people, it should be corrected. But if the dog's intention of search is in decline, the handler must be aware of it and find the reason so that he or she can solve the problem as soon as possible. There are a lot of unexpected situations that might cause the dog's intention of search getting up or down. Handlers must think and discuss with other handlers or consult the instructors, trying to find a way of solving the problems. It needs creativity, and very often, handlers get the job satisfaction from solving the problem or seeing their dog's progress. I guess I have introduced the main features a handler should have. I'm going to introduce what normally we handlers do in a day. I go to the kennel and take the dog to the yard. After this, I will go back to the office. Our team will have a small meeting and decide the schedule today. Then we go back to the kennel to pick up our dogs for deployment. Today, we are going to the post office and the airport. When we arrive at the post office, first thing is to take the dog to pee, and the command is empty out, so that they won't pee in the test areas. And then we take them to the cage. While they are taking a rest, we handlers are going to arrange the parcels in line to make the deployment more efficient. Arnold and I deployed once today. He had a CIB for some parcels. I will examine with the customs officer who work in the post office together. This is what we call follow-up. If that is not our target, I will write the content down, and after certain of time, I will check the record. If he keeps having interest in certain things, I will try to minimize it by training. And I have a PMT, that is Proficiency Maintenance Training today. Arnold successfully detected the target and responded correctly. I submit the dummy, which is this tower, and play with him for a while. This is almost the happiest time in a day for him. During 10:50 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there are 7 flights arriving today. In the meeting of this morning, the team leader, Cleve, has assigned the must-do flights for everyone. Arnold and I will deploy 2 times. If he has a CIB, I will ask the other handlers to follow up and to ask the custom officer of the airport to check the person or the luggage more thoroughly. The other flights are deployed by other staff of the team. In every deployment, everyone has his position. Take carousel deployment, for example. A handler takes his or her dog to sniff, and another arranges the luggage, and the other is responsible, this one, is responsible for taking the luggage to the ground for re-expose. And there is a 4th person who is not shown in this picture. He is doing the follow-up and observe the passengers' abnormal behavior. We have deployed 7 flights. Let's call it a day. We drive back to the center, feed the dog, and then a lot of paperwork to do. I'm in charge of writing the daily deployment report for the team. Besides, every handler has to write a DTR, that is Daily Task Record. It includes how many deployments or trainings the dog has done today, and the description of the dog's performance. And the handler marks the score with good, fair, or poor for him. The training material and the training method should be described in the report too. Well, that's all. The features of handlers and 1 day of mine. Thank you.
Shuling, thanks for sharing so much about your life and your professional knowledge about the dogs. There is an American program called Dog Whisperer. I think I can call you Dog Whisperer in Taiwan Customs. Okay, now I would like to finish my presentation by once again emphasizing the interesting and unique features of the detector dog unit. Its challenging and extraordinary aspect is no job in customs can compare. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Shirley and Emily. With the help of video clip, we have better understanding about how detector dogs examine the warehouse and how vivid and interesting this presentation is. Now it's time for the Q&A session, but before that, as the chair, allow me to take the liberty to ask one question. Because in your presentation, you mentioned something about in the deployment, you said re-expose, but there was not mentioned in this term. I would like to know what re-expose is about. Thank you.
Zach, remember what is CIB? Not CIA, the CIB. That is change in behavior. The re-expose happens when the dog feels something weird and it might have a change in behavior, such as stop walking, begin to sniff of the people, and then the handler will take the dog back to the person or the luggage to approach again and see its reaction. That's what we call re-expose.
Okay, I understand now. So it's basically to make sure, to confirm if the action of the behavior of the dog is consistent, right? Okay, thank you very much. Now I'll open floor to the audience, and please remind you, identify yourself with your name and field customs, and also please don't forget to turn on the microphone. Okay, now the floor is open.
Hello, this is Mia Liu from Taichung Customs. I have a few questions. Firstly, according to your presentation, Artie is from Australia. Are all your dogs from Australia? Secondly, what's the percentage of male and female dogs in your team? Speaking of male and female dogs, is there a preference of gender in detector dogs? Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. And first of all, not all our dogs are from Australia, but indeed the majority is from Australia. And second, about the percentage of male and female dogs, I'm not sure about accurate percentage of every team, but it's true that there are more male dogs than female dogs. And take Taichung team for example, we have 5 dogs and there are 2 female dogs. So for the Taichung team, the percentage is about 40% female dogs. And as for the preference of gender in detector dogs, we don't have a preference. Those who meet our requirement can be excellent detector dogs. Well, there are some important characters that I didn't mention in this presentation. Those are active and independent. There is no official record or research about the prevalence, but it seems that there are more male dogs than female dogs. I'm not sure about the reason, but I guess there is something to do with their character in nature. Do I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so now the floor is open to other other fields. Please, if you have any question to raise, all questions are welcome on this detector dog issue. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ted Liu from Custom Administration, and I like dog are always very cute and very smart. But it is said that when you feed the dog with really a drug, and so then they are eager to search the drug. Is it true?
Mr. Liu? Sorry, there was some noise in your background. We didn't hear you clearly. Would you please repeat the question again? Thank you.
I think I like the dog, but the dogs are always very cute and smart. And it is said that you feed the dog with a real drug. And so then they are eager to search the drug. Is it true?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Liu. Since you like dogs, welcome to our team. And as for yeah, we are recruiting members right now, so you might join us. And well, as for your question about feeding the dogs with real drugs for the training, well, we don't have so many drugs for them to consume actually, and it's not human, so it's not possible for us to feed them with real drugs. We train them by playing with them, and for the dogs, they are not working. They are playing a game of seeking dummy. The dummy is a tower rolled in like a pail. And if they find the right smell and respond correctly, the dummy will appear, and then the handler will play tug of war with them. And it's not about working, it's about playing with them. Do I answer your question, Mr. Liu?
Yes, thank you very much.
More questions from different? Hello? Yes, please.
I would like say some words here. This is my first time to join this video conference. Although the voice and the video are not perfect, however, we did learn a lot from Taichung Customs and the Training Center of Detector Dog. And may I have a suggestion that maybe we could arrange our customs staff to visit the training center of Detector in the near future. And I have been to Cisco company. They have a great video conference system. I would like to suggest our customs administration to upgrade our
break. And due to time limit, we seem to run out of time, so that we will continue on next topic. Okay, I'll pass floor to Victoria. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker is Ms. Kara Hong. Kara is working in founding division of Taichung Customs. She will share her experience in the offset of business tax for the raw materials of export cargoes.
Wow, this second topic is about tax. Reminds me of May. It's a time for us to file the income tax, and oh no, my money is out again.
Is it a big problem to you?
Well, not really, but I'm always trying to find out some ways to save tax. So far, the only thing I can come up with is to use the credit card to defer my payment. Do you have any better way or mechanism to save your tax?
In fact, I use credit card too, but I think we can only defer the payment for 2 to 3 weeks by credit card. So I think private sector will be more interested in saving tax and deferred payment for their cash turnover.
Okay, so what can manufacturers do if they happen to hard up for cash and for the valid tax?
I think that will be an interesting question. So without further introductions, let's proceed with the second presentation to know what preferential measures are available for exporters. Ms. Hong, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kara Hong. It's a great pleasure to be here on behalf of Taichung Customs. My topic today is business tax offset on imported raw materials for export products. Through my presentation, I will start with what is business tax offset, particularly the one based on the regulations governing the offsetting or drawbacks of duties and taxes on raw materials for export products. It is such a long name. From now on, I will just refer it to the regulations. And then I'll move on to what the government has been doing to promote the scheme, what we have achieved so far, and finally, what more we can do, and a little bit of my own insight. This is an era of super media and super citizen. The government are under strict supervision for everything they do or not do. People want the best, the most efficient. They want to cut red tapes out. The old ways of doing things are called for re-examination and innovation. With this trend, the government has been trying every effort in every aspect to come up with new and good ideas to serve our people smartly and efficiently. Raising public awareness and improving online service offering is the first thing to do. For citizens, the MOICA, Certificate Authority of the Ministry of Interior, has been promoting the Citizen Digital Certificates, and ministries under the Executive Yuan provide different online services that apply to that certificate. For example, the public can pay for land administration fees and inquire about records of motor vehicles or declare their personal tax online. For enterprises, online services are also available among government agencies. For example, electronic declaration service of the Ministry of Finance provides 11 categories of online tax-related services, such as income tax calculation, income tax declaration, accountant nomination, and so forth. Apart from the online services, the Ministry of Finance also has some on-the-ground program to bring the public more convenience. In the regards of tax service, the Tax Bureau mail out individual income tax calculation without any application required. Citizens can simply pay the amount accordingly and complete the tedious declaration job. As for customs services, which we are familiar with, programs like AEO, RFID, and NII system are on the go to fulfill both customs and companies' need. That is, to facilitate cargo clearance and secure the border safety with the manpower, cost, and time cut down to the minimum. But these are not enough. The Ministry of Finance keeps thinking hardly what more we can do to serve the public better. They does not only think out of the box, but also look into their own pocket to see if there's anything useful. Here it is. business tax offset on imported raw materials for export products. A scheme involves both tax bureau and customs houses. Let's call it business tax offset scheme. Tax or duty offset is not a new term, but may not be so familiar with most of us, especially business tax offset. You might ask, what is this to do with us? Why is business tax offset concerns us? Shouldn't it be taken care of by tax bureau? I had the same question at the beginning, thinking that the scheme should be handled by tax bureau. But sorry. Tax bureau handles business tax drawbacks only, but not offset scheme. The business tax offset is about business tax levied on imports, so the scheme lies in our hand. Anyway, what is business tax offset scheme? It is a scheme provides upfront exemption from business tax on imported goods that are intended for export. Normally, importers of goods destined for export later on would have to pay customs duty and business tax at the time of import, and then claim a drawback after the goods are exported. Under the offset program, business tax are exempt upfront, and this can deliver significant cash flow advantages. Let me explain more with the following flowchart. First, we need to know how the original drawback pattern is. When a company imports a product, we customs levy duties and business tax on the products. Here we focus on 5% of business tax only. For example, Happy Corporation imports 1 million maybe bike parts from Indonesia. Customs House will collect 5% of business tax out of the value, that is 50,000, on behalf of tax bureau. Happy Corporation cannot take the cargoes until it pays the tax. For Happy Corporation, 50,000 tax are gone to the government on import. When can they get it back? After the company export their products. They can prepare documents and claim for drawback at tax bureau. Please note here, drawbacks are operated at tax bureau, not customs house. 2 months later, Happy Corporation can get their $50,000 back. So you can see here, there are $50,000 paid to the government and go back to the company after 2 months. For the company, they have a loss of interest, and plus, they must prepare cash on hand for tax purpose. On the other hand, Customs House collects a tax meant to be refunded. Customs and Tax Bureau both lose time and manpower on paperwork. With offset scheme, things are easier. First, Happy Corporation needs to file application for the offset program. If they comply with all requirements, Customs House will give them an approval number and approved amount to use. Please note here that the company is required to file a renewal application every year based on the Article 15 of the regulation. The approved amount to use is calculated on new applicants' total export of previous year, and it can be used from the time of approval until the end of that year. A company who wants to apply for the scheme has to prepare the following documents to file an application to any customs house. First, identity certificate, certificate of auditing account, certificate of export performance record, and finally the affidavit. After after Customs House receives the application, we need about 1 month processing time to check if the applicant complies with the following requirements. First, do they meet the identity requirement in the Article 13 of the regulation? This can be proved by the certificates issued by Tax Bureau. Secondly, the applicant's export amount must be up to 60 million NT dollars per year for 2 years in a row or meet other similar terms. Then, the company should have a clean obedience record and have no accumulated deficit. It usually takes at least 2 weeks for us to confirm the obedience record with Tax Bureau, local tax office, and other customs houses. After all requirements are satisfied, the company will receive an approval number and approve the amount used. Now, the company is able to record the tax payable on account at the time of importing the raw materials and offset it later on when exporting the products. How? By simply quoting the approval number on the import and export declarations. That's it. The computer will take over to do the rest calculation job. Every import becomes easier to handle when there's no cash flying around. There's no pressure on the prompt capital needs and no loss of interest for the company, and no tax collection and drawbacks work for the government. Let's review the whole procedure of offset scheme. First, a company should log an application and gain an approval number and approved amount to use. At the time of import, quoting approval number on entries to record the tax payable on account. At the time of export, quoting the number again on export entry to offset the amount. Offsetting needs to be done within 18 months after the raw materials are imported. Here is a comparison chart of offsets and drawbacks. For the offsets, there's no cash flow and no tax payment deadline to meet. But there is a qualification review, and for the offset operation, the company has to quote the approval number. For the drawbacks pattern, yes, there is cash flow, and the tax payment has to be done within 14 days, so there is possible interest lost. There's no qualification review required, and for the drawbacks, the company has to file a drawbacks application to Tax Bureau, and the refund will usually received after 2 months. So far, it seems to be a great scheme that's supposed to have lots of companies in, but when the Ministry of Finance looked into the statistics in 2011, they surprisingly found that there were only 6 companies with total approved amount to be 37 million in this program. They cannot understand why companies are not interested in this scheme and decided to find out. First, they refer to related agencies such as Tax Bureau and of course with Customs House, and also some big companies for possible reasons. Here are the reasons given for not applying for the program. There is an identity restrict under the regulation, the Article 13 of the regulation. It prohibited some companies from application. And also the DPV of single entry must be over 1 million to allow the company to record the tax on account. Small amount of import was shut out of the doors. approved amount to use is usually short of the needs. And finally, many companies are simply not aware of this scheme. After the review, the Ministry of Finance held several meetings and amended the regulations as below with a view to bring this scheme alive. First, the Article 13 of the regulation was amended to loosen the qualification. Also, the minimum import amount requirement was cancelled to allow small amount tax payable to be recorded on account. With these two major changes made, the promotion is then on the go. Tax Bureau mailed out scheme introduction to 7,140 companies that meet the identity requirement. The Customs Administration makes sure that websites update and enough information is provided, and also they play the leading role in scheme promotion. Taichung Customs, as a single custom house, set up consulting windows requested and hold orientations to promote this scheme. There were 2 orientations in 2012 with around 100 representatives from industries coming to know this scheme better. We have just finished another orientation in January this year and will arrange another one in the coming month. This is what we have achieved so far from the statistics of 2012. We can see that there are 44 companies granted the status in this scheme with approved amount to be 231 million. There's an increase of the 38 companies. It's not a huge jump, so the Ministry of Finance consults to related agencies and some companies to do the promotion review. Here is what I found out. The applicants' major complaints. The first, they think it is a good scheme, but some traders are excluded from the scheme when they contact Customs House for application. And according to the Customs House, this is due to the regulation Article 13 prescribed that this scheme only applicable to factories or firms engaging in exporting which import raw materials directly from abroad and which are then re-exported by themselves. And for the reason number 2, they have to prepare documents every year. Renewal application brings them extra works. And approved amount to use is another concern. The amount is usually short of the company's needs. Beyond that amount, the company has to go back to the drawbacks pattern. It is sometimes a burden to go off patterns. Finally, though the regulation gives 18 months for the company to offset the recorded amount, but some companies still worry about failing to meet the deadline. To sum up, they would rather choose drawbacks pattern than applying for offset scheme if they don't have much problem on capital. The Ministry of Finance has not yet informed of us any new policy after the review, but it is clearly that there are something we can do to respond to these complaints. What we might be able to do is to enhance the G2G cooperation via IT system. If Customs House can obtain applicants' relevant information, such as identity proof directly from Tax Bureau or export performance record from Foreign Trade Bureau, instead of asking the applicants to prepare for lost documents, I believe that it would save them lots of time and efforts and drive them to apply for this scheme. Also, we can also try to reduce our document processing time, as it usually takes at least 2 weeks to confirm the obedience record. There has been a discussion on building up an obedience record confirmation platform among tax bureau, local tax office, and customs houses. But as far as I know, the Physical Information Agency of Ministry of Finance is working on the possibilities. This is something we can expect in the future, but may not be soon. Okay. Finally, after 2 years of participating in the scheme promotion, I personally think this scheme provides industry capital convenience and strengthens the international competitiveness of Taiwan industry in export market. However, as an officer under Ministry of Finance, we have responsibility to think for the duty and tax collection. This scheme gives companies tax credit simply based on paper reviews. I cannot stop asking myself that what if a company breaks down with recorded tax left unpaid? Is there anything we can do to prevent this from happening? Otherwise, it will become the loss of all citizens, and this is definitely not something we want to see. Finally, is a list of related information if you are interested to know more about the scheme, the website information, and consulting window at Customs House. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks for the informative presentation, Kara. I think this program really deserves our full efforts for promotion, and hopefully your analysis can help to improve the current system so that more and more companies will participate in this program. But before entering into the Q&A session, may I take the liberty as chair to ask the first question?
Yes, please.
You have presented the offset of business tax, but I think there is also a similar mechanism to offset the customs duties. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Okay, but I have to go back to one of my slides. The customs duties and commodity tax offset is also prescribed in the same regulations. And to be eligible in these programs, a company needs to file a separate application to a customs house. So let's use this chart. Customs duties offset requires qualification review as well. But we give only approved amount to use. At the time of import, the company should note on the entry that duties to be recorded on account, but they have to provide a single case affidavit along with other shipping documents. Customs officer will have to give an approval through the computer system, and then the duty can be exempt. To offset the amount recorded, the company has to prepare a duplicate of entry or some other documents, just like the drawback pattern requires. Of course, the online application is available now, but still, there's not much convenience given in this regard. Do I answer your question?
Thank you for your answer, Kara. Now the floor is open to questions, and all participants are encouraged to raise any questions about this topic.
Hello?
Taichung Customs have a question.
Please go ahead.
Recall text.
Sorry, would you please repeat your question? Due to noise, we can't hear you clearly. Sorry to interrupt, but I think we really need to upgrade our system. We still can't hear you well.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Please identify the custom fields and the name, please.
This is Lan Chen from Taipei Customs. Did you get me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. On behalf of Taipei Customs, we thank you for your representation about offset and drawbacks, and you did a great job of representing and comparison of two of them. Second, I would like to ask about, is there any drawback case at Taichung Customs and why?
Thank you, Lan Chen. Yes, regretfully, there were dropout case in Taichung Customs. There were 19 companies applied for the program in 2012. But only 14 of them continued this year. I did ask them question why, and 2 of them says that due to the elaborate division of responsibilities, they haven't yet found a way or a person to oversee the whole offset operation, so they chose not to file renewal application. The other one simply took advice from their accountant not to go both drawbacks and offset patterns. And the last one didn't give the reason. Did I answer your question?
Taipei Customs, did you hear Kara's answer well?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your presenting.
So are there any other questions?
Yeah. Yes,
I'm Joanne from Taichung Customs. Thanks for your presentation. And I have a question for what would happen if a company fails to keep the 18 months offset time limit?
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Thank you for your question. First, I want to say that this is something we will try every efforts to avoid. because if a company fails to keep the 18-month offset time limit, the company is subject to payment of tax recorded and also the delinquent fee. And the delinquent fee is levied on the amount of tax at the rate of 0.05%. Sorry, 0.05% per day, and that could be huge. So when they applied for this scheme, we will just emphasize in this regards to tell them that they have to make. It's better that they can make sure that they can offset all the amount. Do I answer the question?
Yes, thank you. Your answer.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ted Liu. I'm from Custom Administration. I have one question about that. Is there any deposit required? And if you will duty payer, and do you need to pay the whole deposit when you apply for the qualification? Or after applying for qualification, you pay a deposit when imported each time?
Okay. Thank you for your question. No, there is no deposit required. This is the beauty of this scheme. Is to provide cash flow advantages. So as long as an applicant gains the approval number, and there's no need for provide deposits, either when they file their application or maybe later on when they import the product. Do I answer your question?
I want to ask another question is about after apply for qualification, and you will pay the deposit when imported each time or not?
No, as I just mentioned, no. There's no any deposits required. That's why I raised the question at the slide of my presentation that we have to ask ourselves, what if the company breaks down and the recorded tax left unpaid? We have basically nothing to do because there's no any deposits provided. Do I?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Council Customs have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? I'm Frank. Just come from Council Customs. I have a true story of the drawback of the business tax. A lady with a departure to Hong Kong last week, but he just forget to take his business tax back. So he sent many emails to Council Customs. He hope he can do it and take his money back. So we just thinking about this kind of situation. When he take his goods, leave this country, and take another application for that, it's a problem for us. Cannot easy to decide. We must, even he like to take back his goods, import again to Taiwan. But we think about this kind of situation is not suitable for our law. So I have a question about, please tell me, must accept for the new state. Thank you. Your cooperation.
I'm sorry, we.
Thank you your cooperation.
Sorry, we didn't understand your question very well. Would you please repeat that again?
We have a passenger just come from Hong Kong. It's a lady. When he departure this country and no any chance or no any time to take back his business tax back. So when he arrived at Hong Kong, he sent many emails to us. He hoped we can accept his application to have a chance to take back his money. Even he think he can back again and doing this kind of work. I'm not sure our custom law can allow to draw back his business tax. So we just confused of this kind of situation. We just refuse it or accept it. Please tell me. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you for the question from Hao Xiong and also your sharing of the story. As far as I understand your question, it seems to be a case belongs to the travelers, the passengers tax drawback system, and it's actually totally different from the offset scheme, because the business tax offset scheme is only for the factories, corporations, individuals is not applicable. So I'm sorry that I cannot answer your question in this regard.
Can you identify your name and your organization?
Okay, I'm Sophia Chen from Customs Administration. As you mentioned in your presentation, the offset will be reviewed by the systems only. So I think in this program, the fraud may occur. Do I think Taichung Customs set up an audit mechanism to deal with this event? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, but first can I confirm again, are you asking about the auditing at the time of import or at the time of export?
I think the whole procedure must you say the offset only will be reviewed by this system. This is in import and export just by this system only. So how can you audit this event, and how can you prevent the fraud?
Thank you. It's a huge question. I'm going to try my best to answer. Actually, yeah, just the slides that's still on the screen. Actually, we, as a single customs house, we do the qualification review, and for the auditing, we will confirm again with the tax office and tax bureau and other customs house about the applicant's obedience record every season. And for monthly, we will print out reports to check if the offset is on the normal speed. And if we find out a company's offset speed slow down, we will contact them for the possible reasons and to see if there's anything we can do before they fail to meet the 18 months deadline. But apart from this, no. Do I answer your question?
Any more questions about this topic? So if there's no further question, I'd like to ask if there are any comments from Customs Administration or Field Customs for today's conference.
Allow me to make some comments. Okay, first of all, I would like to congratulate all the speakers and who have made very excellent presentations today. After the greeting words, I would like to say something more realistic. I think the purpose of this video conference is to encourage discussion. So maybe we have to be more careful in selecting the topics. I think the first presentation is a very interesting one, but it used too many pictures and short clips that certainly distract the audience. But I enjoyed that presentation very much. But for myself, it's very hard to raise any questions from the presentation. And compared to the second one is a typical custom presentation, which would encourage discussions. The only defect is the topic is too, in a sense, is too, maybe we can say too professional. If we are not working in this area, maybe we could not digest the presentation within such a short period of time. So maybe next time we could pick some issues that is more popular, even, for example, the kind of the transportation allowance, for example, like that, or any, for example, the ministry links. What's the disadvantage of the ministry links in terms of custom enforcement? Something that everyone could join the discussion very quickly. And another two procedural issues. The first one is because we are on screen, so no one could notice which one has raised his or her hand. So one of my colleagues just left very disappointedly because his voice could not be heard. So maybe next time, as the chair, I would suggest that we just call on the roll in sequence. For example, first from the headquarters and Keelung, Taipei, Taichung, Kaohsiung, there anyone have any comments or any questions, so that each one will have the opportunity to let their voice to be heard. So another is maybe we have too much reading. I think all the speakers that made the presentation today, everyone has very good command of English. I think it won't be a problem for them to speak in a more natural way. So maybe next time we can try our best to just to present like normal speakers, because in international conference, I think we are not allowed to read the script as we have done today. That's my personal comment, because I'm new for this kind of conference. Maybe I have my point of view won't be very correct, but just for your reference. And the most important thing, I think, is to encourage discussion from different field officers. That is the purpose for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yang. We'll keep your words in mind and make improvement in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yang, very much too. I would like to echo him, because personally, I've joined this conference several times and have the pretty impression that most speakers tend to read the scripts and they never change. The people who are on this duty never change. Therefore, I appreciate a lot that Mr. Yang suggests we could carefully choose the topics to be presented on this conference. And meanwhile, we also should spend more time on opinion exchange, such as giving comments or to share their experiences. Yeah, so I really echo Mr. Yang's comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. And are there any other comments from field customs, highway customs?
No, thank you.
Kilo customs?
Hello, I'm Vanessa from Keelung Customs. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Glad to share my thoughts about the presentations today. Firstly, thank Taichung Customs for your great presentation and hard working. And last time in our international affair meeting, Keelung Customs actually had similar topics. And this time, we see you elaborated a similar topic in different way. And I think it's a very nice learning experience for us. So we have two topics today. The first one is regarding detector dog. Actually, I was impressed by the artist's autobiography. You provide us lots of photos and videos, and I think it's a very simple and easy way for us to, for audience to learn more about your daily operation, and it's very good. And the second one is regarding deferred payment on tax. The presenters outlined definition and how we do and what we achieved in the beginning, so that we got a very clear picture in the beginning. And I think it's very important for a hard issue like this, and it can enable us to get into this kind of issue faster. So I think very good. So believe we all have a nice experience this morning. Thank you, Taichung Customs. Thank you.
Thank you. And are there any comments from Kaohsiung Customs?
thanks for the Taichung Custom have this kind of conference. We know because the Kaohsiung Custom, the Taichung Custom, the major work is very similar. We learn about a lot of things. We very thankful for the Taichung Customs, and we hope next time in Kaohsiung we just arrange another topic. We just change the topic or something. I think it could all the custom law or something, and we just extend to the international trade or something. We just think about it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So are there any comments? It seems like there's no more further questions, and I think it's time we come to the end of the conference. But before we officially end today's conference, I'd like to thank you again for your attendance. And now, if no objection, I announce the conference is adjourned. That is all for today. Thank you.